So I want to talk about something real quick, and it is, what is the people's agenda? What exactly is the people's agenda? Who are the people? And I asked that question because I was just listening to somebody talk about how you have certain people that's kind of making laws and running the show and creating all these what you call it, 5G networks, cloud, AI cloud, and all that stuff, and metaverse or whatever it is, talking about how they want to push forward their agenda over the people's agenda. That's what this person was saying. And while this person was saying this, I mean, it sounded so moralistic, didn't it? It sounded so good. It sounded like he was a good person. They're choosing their agenda over the people's agenda. Well, the people is not really clear on what their agenda is. It looked like the people just went along to get along and they complacent. I don't know what the people's agenda is, honestly. It looks like people are just complacent. It looks like people are complacent because you got billions of people in the world that went along with an agenda created by other entities. And you have billions of people in the world that just went along with it, right? Just went along with it. And, it'll be different if they went along with it, because I said this before. Because now they got to get themselves up. They depended on the system for so long that they might have to go along just a little bit just to work on themselves and get themselves together so they can, probably overturn. There's a lot of people that do that. I mean, that's what happened with Egypt. And, a lot of Caucasians went in to learn the mysteries. This is just an example. A lot of them went in to learn the mysteries and did what they were supposed to do. And I'm pretty sure they were quite obedient, docile, whatever, while they were trying to learn, right? And then when they got the knowledge they needed, that's it. And brown folks haven't stopped complaining yet. But they were allowed to learn the mysteries, though. They were allowed to learn it, okay? And they were nice and sweet, obedient, and they were kind. They were likable because they had to do what they had to do. They can't rock the boat when they need to get something from the people they trying to get it from. If they haven't attained all the knowledge yet to completely run the world, then they need to sit and be quiet and act nice, And when they finally got the knowledge, they got the knowledge from the people that taught it to them, and then they held on to the secrets, right? Then they turned around and held on to the secrets, and the very people who taught them almost like became their slaves. So the point I'm making is that's just an example. That doesn't mean the people need to turn around and make the folks that's doing all this stuff with this agenda their slaves. The point I'm saying is that, even if you have to go along for a little while because you got to prepare yourself, at least have a plan to not just stay in it, if you're able to not stay in it. And I don't see where people as a collective really are doing anything about what's going on. Many of them might be just concerned with just stocking up and get what they need for what's coming. See, a lot of people are being passive. They say, well, let's stock up for what's coming because it's about to get bad, so let's stock up. It don't have to be bad. Now, the problem is people don't even understand that it doesn't have to, people don't even understand that it doesn't have to get bad. A lot of people that say that, they understand that there's a spiritual world before there's a physical world. Whatever is have manifested in the physical, it was already in the spiritual first. It was already in the spiritual first. So if it's already in the spiritual first, then what's coming is already in the spiritual too. Now, I don't know how much can be done to really, a lot can be done if people come together as one, which probably won't happen because that's the whole purpose of people being separated, so they can't destroy this particular agenda that's already happening or happened. Okay, because when you're in time and you're in the so-called physical world, that's something that the physical world doesn't create nothing. Whatever comes to the physical world has already been created. Okay, so now you're just waiting for stuff to happen because it's already been created in the physical world. The only way I can see people in mass that can completely stop this whole thing is if enough people say, enough is enough. And then that's going to be enough energy, regardless of how long they've been planning this stuff, because it's probably been in the spiritual world and it's tight for a long time. And they probably been putting enough energy towards it for a long time because they put other people's energy in it. When people use Facebook, I'm not criticizing social media, but I'm just saying, people use Facebook, Instagram, all that other stuff, or just any other type of social media. It could be TikTok, just anything. Watching a lot of movies, right? I'm not, I've watched movies before too, but the point I'm saying is that they were able to put a lot of energy into their agenda by using other people's agenda. When they push this stuff, this chaos stuff, this Black Lives Matter and all this other stuff, this alt-right and what you call it, all these other people in these groups that's against certain things, right? Alt-right and what else? It's another one, anti-fascist, all these different groups. And so when that's being pushed, it's being pushed by higher ups. It's being pushed by government or whoever, higher ups, higher up than them. But who's the real government though? See, the government it's not really been described. I think the governors just mean governors are men. But and so that's putting, when they do that, that's putting a lot of energy. When they put out those movies, when they put out music, and then people go to concerts and people listen to it a lot, that's putting a lot of energy into their agenda. So honestly, their agenda is working because they use everybody else's energy, but people don't know how their energy was used. But their energy was used to get a mission accomplished. And this is what's happening, why they're able to go forward, because people don't know that their energy was used. When you put something in the spiritual world, they put a lot of mental energy into it, a lot of attention into it, for it to really form like it should. And because they were able to get so many people to respond to everything, it helped push their agenda forward. Now the only thing that's left now is just time. It's just time, because it's already formed in the spiritual world. So the only thing that's left now is time. Because something that big that's going on with the metaverse and all this stuff they doing, that was already planned, had to be at least 10 years in advance, if not more. It had to be planned at least 10 years in advance. So this has already been going on because it had to be formed first in the spiritual. So this has already been going on. They use a lot of black magic and manipulation with TV and with all this stuff and with music and everything to use everybody else's energy to make this manifest. But, yeah, I'm about to go. But the question was, what is the people's agenda? Because this person was sounding like such a good person. They sound like they had morals. I was talking about how the other people, these other like the Elon Musks and the Zuckerbergs and the Bill Gates and other people that's involved in this particular agenda. I'm going to say that's involved in it. Fauci and all of them, Fauci. He was like, oh, they want to push their agenda instead of the people's agenda. But what is the people's agenda? I don't know if their agenda is clear. What is the people's agenda? Because, when you kind of sit and be passive, and a lot of us learn this just regular in life, right? We learn this in life. If you just sit passive and you allow stuff to happen, then stuff is going to happen. And whose fault is that? Whose fault is it? Honestly. Okay? Because even when stuff happened to us as a child that we had no control over, it's still up to us when we grow up to do something about it, right? We can't continue to be a 40-something-year-old or a 50-something-year-old or a 30-year-old blaming our parents, right? It's up to us to work on ourselves. We can't continue to blame our parents, right? So what I'm saying is that it's up to the people to decide what they want and come together and decide they're not going to take stuff anymore. Okay? So anyway, they just sit back and passively and just let people make the rules and say, okay. Somebody brought up a good point. I don't bring up names a lot because I know some of these names might be controversial. It's not that I don't want to give folks credit for what they say, but a lot of names that I say could be controversial. And sometimes when I bring up a person's name, then there is a focus on what somebody don't like about the person than the actual what I'm just trying to the point I'm trying to make in just the statement, not necessarily them, because I don't the actual person that these folks on YouTube and these folks that have these platforms, I don't really know them like that. I don't even watch them regularly. I might run across a video or so and they might say something that I might get something from. But like for the most part, most of these people I don't know enough to even have anything against them at all, or really have an opinion about them because I don't listen to them enough. But one person said something I agreed with, talking about how you had billions of people in the world when this whole thing first happened in 2020. You know, when it was happening in time, in real time here. In this particular type of reality, this particular type of perception of reality, when it was happening in real time in 2020, he was talking about how you had a lot of people acquiescing to whatever the rules were, to just being locked in their house, to staying away from each other. If you're not supposed to have more than 6 people in your house, and then you had people that just had to acquiesce, that's the word he uses, or just had to separate from their family and do what they're told. And they didn't question it. If they did question it, they just said whatever, and they just did whatever they were told. And that's what I'm talking about. So what is the people's agenda? Because it's like people don't, even if they question stuff, they just do whatever they told because they feel like, for me, they feel like they don't have the power to do anything about it. And if they do feel like they have the power, they might not want to put in the type of work that's needed. And these other beings that's doing all this stuff, that's going forward with their agenda, they're putting the necessary work into making that happen, right? They're putting into necessary work. And you know what? Resources, no, I can't even go with the excuse that they might have resources. Because if you have even 5 million people to come together, which isn't even a fourth of the world, okay? But if you got 5 million people to come together, say enough is enough, and they put together their resources and they get on one accord and they get on a high type of vibration as one, that's going to be enough right there. You don't even need everybody, okay? Because those high vibrations tend to cancel out more low vibrations. That's why people jump on one person. You know how you have people, a lot of low vibrational folks that might want to jump on somebody else, because the one that's kind of vibrating higher sometimes might have a little bit more power too. They just might not know how to use it right then and there. But they're a little bit more powerful, and you do have that. So one person said 500 megahertz. If one person vibrates at 500 megahertz, they cancel out 750,000 other people or entities of low vibration. Automatically cancel them out. Now, I don't know where this person got that from, but that's something to actually experience, like experiment, to use as an experiment. So that just goes to show it don't take a whole lot of folks to really change things. Because people that's on a higher vibration would cancel out the lower vibration. But people need to hurry the heck on up, because what's happening is they're trying to connect this brain to the AI cloud. And once they connect their brain to the AI cloud, and people haven't figured out how to use another part of their brain or a higher mind or whatever, then they're not going to be able to rise up high. They're not going to be able to rise in consciousness. So people need to do that while they have a chance right now. I already saw in the physical world. I already saw it during meditation in 2020. During meditations, I saw this cloud, and I couldn't understand where it was coming from. 2019, I would do meditations. I would see, clear skies just fine in my meditation, not when I look outside, in my meditation. And then when 2020 came and this thing with George Floyd came, I started seeing these clouds. I started seeing the clouds. It was after the lockdown and this stuff with George Floyd. I started seeing these clouds, and it became more difficult and more difficult for me to see the sky, for me to see the blue sky. I said, what's going on with these? Why do I keep seeing these clouds? And, sometimes I had to be careful because I had to make sure it's not black magic, because I deal with a lot of black magic from the past. And so I always, when I look at the clouds, I need to make sure it's not some juju. But no, this happened during the pandemic. I said I had to analyze that, and I was like, no, it has to do with this pandemic. Okay, because with the thing with George Floyd, I started seeing a lot of those. So that's not about me. That's not about me. Anyway, I'm going to end this, and I probably need to start my video and end it like this. Love yourself, and I need to love myself, and working on that every day, because it's not that you don't love yourself, but you got to work on it every day. Love yourself more than somebody else's hate for you. Okay, that's what they afraid of, because when you love yourself more than somebody's hate, that's always stronger. That higher vibration is always stronger. So love yourself and accept yourself more than somebody's hate and rejection of you. And with that being said, I'll talk later.